almost late due to Yoshi being late. He's like, hey, we'll do the gym at 9 a.m. Or was it 8 a.m. initially?
We were just at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. And then...
But this was when we were talking about it at like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
We didn't go to sleep until...
later. And then like we woke up and then both, like, because he's staying at another hotel somewhere else. And then like we got up and both set our alarms again, fell asleep again. We got up and then he's like, all right, how does 9 sound? Okay. He's like, how about 9:45? And then he gets here at 10. I'm like, all right, we're going to do the fastest workout ever. Whatever.
Come on.
So we literally just came from the gym. That's why we're all sweaty and stuff. But, hooray, we're in the energy for Ranger Fit.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you guys for coming, by the way. How's everyone doing? Fell asleep or
Fell asleep or still asleep?
Yeah. Yoshi brought me liquid sleep, so I'm waking up.
Liquid sleep?
Yeah. I don't know, liquid energy, like it's sleep, like it gives you what sleep is.
I see.
It really doesn't. They're not good for you. Don't drink them. But
first tip.
Yeah, fit tip of the day: don't drink Bang. So
inject it instead.
No. Okay, Yoshi's not certified. Don't listen to him. So I've done different fitness panels in the past where I actually had people sign waivers to work out. Because of COVID and everything, I didn't feel like this was the one to do that per se. So this is an informational kind of Q&A. If you have questions for Yoshi, ask him directly, make him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And if you have questions like about fitness in general, so like I went to school, I have a degree in kinesiology. I'm a certified exercise physiologist, a yoga instructor, a sports nutritionist, strength and conditioning specialist through NSCA, and some other training stuff. So anyway,
I can teach you math, but that's it.
And I'm bad at math, so yeah. 2 + 2 is 5, right?
It is if you say this.
They're like, the 6th Ranger. I'm like, no, Dobbies are 7th Ranger. Like, whatever. But yeah, so if you guys have questions, I mean, I don't think we need a mic or anything. Like, you know, you could just like project. But I really
raise your hand and we'll call it.
Or that. Yeah. So I basically like keep it about fitness overall. Unless it's embarrassing, then ask Yoshi anyway. And, but
I shower every day.
I mean, most of them. So, no, okay. In the back. You, not that far in the back. In the back, you guys raising your hands.
Okay. No, I actually have managed to, in the past 2 years, drop 30 pounds.
Congratulations. Sure.
So basically, any tips on losing your gut? That's the only part of my body I'm not happy with.
Yeah, great question, and also great progress, by the way. So a thing with fitness, a lot of people think like, I want to lose weight around my midsection or my arms or like a specific body part. Genetically, you can't choose where you lose the weight from, even if you work that area out. That's called spot reduction, and that's not real, it's a myth. So basically, you have to lose weight in general, and your body will choose genetically, predetermine where it comes from. There's scientific reasons why, but typically the abdominal section is one of those areas we lose weight last, unfortunately. But I mean, as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. Like law of thermodynamics, you can't not lose weight if you're in a calorie deficit. And if you think you're in a calorie deficit and you're not losing weight, you're not in a calorie deficit. So there's some hidden calories from something, like, oh, I track my calories, blah, blah, blah. Those are all estimates. Maybe the ketchup packet you use from this store is higher than that store, or whatever. There's always something that has hidden, that the labels can be misleading. Or if you're eating like a bag of chips, it's 100 calories, but it says 2 servings, you didn't realize it's actually 200 calories. So typically 1 to 2 pounds a week is like a sustainable, healthy amount that most exercise societies say like aim for. A pound is roughly 3,500 calories, which is 500 a day if you're making a deficit. 500 times 7, math guy.
3,500.
3,500. Yeah. Hey, it's a pound, that's what I'm saying. So if you make a deficit of 500 a day, whether from exercise or diet, you'll lose about a pound a week. Now that's not 100% accurate because depending on if it's protein, carbohydrates, or fat sources, they do burn at different rates in your body. But as a rough estimate, it's something to start basing off of, if that makes sense. Yeah. So calorie deficit, keep at it. You could also diet. Some people they try to go really hard, consistently, and then they burn out and get fatigued, and then they end up eating a bunch, and they just fall off the bandwagon. I'm more a fan of if you, let's say you diet, and I don't mean you need to follow a specific diet, just like you're watching what you eat or whatever, for a month, and then you take 2 weeks of maintenance, and then you go back to losing for a month, and then 2 weeks of maintenance, versus trying to trajectory down the entire time, because you're probably gonna end up quitting at some point. But if you do like, even if you do like 2 weeks on, 1 week off, 2 weeks on, 1 week off, you're more likely to stick to it. Because it's a lifestyle thing. It's not just like I'm gonna follow this diet for 30 days, and then after the next 30 days, I'm gonna go back to what I ate. Well, then you're gonna gain the weight back. And then like, you'll lose the weight for that particular 30 days if you have like a photo shoot or something. A lot of actors, again, like we have specific roles we need to look a certain way for, but it's not sustainable, unless you make it a lifestyle. Other questions? Yes?
When you was, I got a question for Mr. Got a question for Yoshi. When you, wait.
Okay.
Yoshi.
Oh, okay.
When you played the role of Coda, did it take you a long time to grow your hair, or?
That's a great fitness question. Let us know.
That is a great fitness
Did it
question.
take you a long time to grow your hair?
Honestly, my hair was already. Brendan and I, when we auditioned, we had similar hair. His was long, and mine was long. But mine was only like, maybe not much longer than his. It was like to here. And him, same thing. And then they were like, oh, well, we cut his hair and then let mine grow out. So we booked it, I guess a couple months before we went out there.
Yeah, and they actually gave me a haircut behind the stage for Morphicon. And I still came out my hair.
Oh, that's right!
Literally, Chip had his friend come give me a haircut backstage because it was so long. And then it was long, I don't know if you guys remember the picture, but it was long, and then they cut it for the show again.
After you put the suit on, right?
Yeah, well,
They just covered him with the anyway.
Yeah,
that was weird.
yeah, it was funny.
So a few months, I guess, after I got booked, I mean, it just kind of grows. Like my hair grows differently for everybody, but generally it grows pretty similarly. You can't like hit it out to get it to grow
Yeah, you
faster.
can. He's lying to you. It's at number 5. Yeah.
True, I am lying. It is a myth.
And I thought that was pretty cool. You passed your torch to your little brother.
I did do that, except I had nothing to do with it. So I guess I did.
Yes.
How much fitness do you have to do a day?
To achieve what? What's the goal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be Ranger fit?
So to like fit in your Ranger costume.
Here's a trick. Here's a trick. They fit the costume to you.
It's true.
Oh, that's where it is.
So it's basically whatever you get hired as. Don't change drastically from the moment of his filming until the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, like the whole thing with Ranger Fitness, my goal isn't to be like, there's this perfect body type, because that's a lie. Like, my thing is promoting health and wellness, not that you need to have a six-pack. Like, six-packs are cool, but like, it doesn't mean you're healthy. If you have, like, there's so many people I know who have six-packs, but like, maybe they're healthy in the sense of like body fat percentage, but they don't get enough sleep, they still eat like crap, they're overstressed, they drink too much alcohol, they don't handle, stuff at home or their work life, and the gym is almost like a drug, it's an addiction. And I've struggled with working out being an addiction, honestly. Like, it's better than other addictions, sure, but like...
I respectfully disagree. It's all about the aesthetics.
I mean, yeah. Pretty boy Yoshi here. Look at him with his cool earrings and stuff, and like, he's so chic.
Listen, funny bucks, we can go get you one now.
Earrings?
Yeah.
Can I rock earrings? Some people... That's a lukewarm response. I'm not getting earrings. Whatever.
I think you can rock the one, maybe not the pair.
Yeah,
He'll get the
nose. There you go. That's one, right?
No.
That would hurt.
That would hurt. Yeah, but like, Ranger Fit, like again, I love physicality. I honestly think of it kind of like in a video game where, like, the higher you progress in the game, the more things you can do in that world. The more athletic I become, the more I feel like I can traverse the world we live in, which is why I love it. Like, if there's a wall, I want to be able to wall flip, which I still suck at versus him. But like, I can handstands on things. So like, it's just something, it's a way I can interact tangibly with things around me, and it's a passion, but you don't have to work out as much as we do to be healthy. Like,
I think the point of it is do what you're going to enjoy, right? Because if you don't enjoy it, it'll be a chore, and you won't consistently do it. I've had to find ways that I'm going to enjoy this fitness or whatever it is in different ways. And every year that may change. It just has to be something that you enjoy, and you have to adapt because your body gets bored.
yeah. And so do you mentally.
Yeah, exactly. So then you won't be able to stay and be consistent. But honestly, if the answer you're looking for all you need is that calorie deficit, but you know, that's a whole nother thing when you get there. You don't need it right now.
Yeah, weight loss
Alright.
is calorie deficit.
Do something every day.
Yeah, like if your goal is to lose weight, it's dietary, like 90%. The gym is for getting stronger, you know, increasing bone density, stuff like that, and learning skills, or getting strong enough to perform skills safely, you know, because you have muscle that, like, if you do a backflip, there's gravity and force involved, and physics and torque, and if your legs have stronger bone density and muscle, you're less likely to injure yourself. Same with mobility. But like me stretching isn't gonna burn off like a Big Mac from McDonald's, like, you know?
I think people think that they're burning off more calories than they really are.
Yeah,
It's because of like the watches that you use. It tells you like, oh, you've just burned 1,000 calories. Definitely did not do that.
no, usually not. They err a little generously, a lot of them. I mean, it tells me when I stretch that I'm burning like 400 calories. I'm like, that's not true. Like, I'm literally sitting here holding a stretch. Like, it hurts, but I'm not burning calories, really. I try to do it first thing. Like literally, we went to the gym this morning. Like, he drove over, we went to the gym, and here we are. Like, because now I don't have the excuse of, I'm too tired at the end of the day. It's already done. Like, you're never going to be like, man, why did I go to the, like, no one's really mad that they worked out. It's usually, why didn't I go to the gym? So if you do it first, then you can't undo it, you know? So,
There's so many excuses that you can give yourself at the end of the day. You're like, I've got this, I'm tired. So honestly, if you do it right in the beginning of the day, you feel really good.
yeah. And it kind of like sets you up to want to continue doing well. Like, I want to eat a little bit healthier because, like, versus I'll eat like garbage, but then I'll burn it off later. And then you have to go to the gym and you eat like garbage, and you know what I mean? Yeah! All right, gentleman right here.
I've heard you say calorie deficit a couple times now. I tried to lose weight, I did some research on the internet. I read there was must be true.
True. Yeah. The interweb said I was dead on Wikipedia for a while.
I'm glad you're alive.
Right? Yeah. Wait, still? I'm a ghost. Right?
But I saw things about like fat and like protein. Other things were really just calorie deficit.
If weight loss is the goal, it's a calorie deficit. There was a professor a couple years back who went on a Twinkie diet to prove this to his students, was in a calorie deficit but just ate Twinkies and he lost weight.
Oh, Twinkies. I was like, what is a Twinkie diet?
That's not a good diet, don't do that.
Twinkie?
No, it's not. I do not condone. I don't condone the Twinkie diet either.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he was like deficient in nutrients and things.
Right.
And weight loss doesn't mean you're healthy if you're skipping all the things your body needs. But like, yeah.
I'll explain that for sure because I gained a lot. I had a kid and I gained almost 20 pounds and I used it to like just bulk, which was fine. But then
Not to skull.
then I scrolled after.
I'll be here for a few hours.
With all the dad jokes you do, you should be a dad. But then the same thing, I lost all that weight now and I feel great, but I didn't do it the proper way. I got sick. I lost all those 20 pounds that I gained because I just couldn't eat. I couldn't keep anything down. So I lost weight, but it wasn't necessarily healthy. So if you want to do it, you know, healthy, like it's a calorie deficit, but you have to go try to do it as healthy as possible, right? Don't like just eat 500 calories a day because you're like trying to lose
No,
weight.
and because like typically I
You lose muscle too.
think it's 1,200 calories or so for your average human. Like you should not go below that when you're going for weight loss because then you're not going to have enough to like run your immune system and to cellular regeneration and all these things. And even that's too low if you're also working out hard. But truly, you can just eat less if you lose weight. You don't even have to work out. Working out, again, is for other health benefits. So I always recommend it, but you don't have to be in the gym for hours and hours to lose weight.
You could just do like a walk around your neighborhood
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
That's honestly enough, you know?
Yeah, 150 minutes a week is the ACSM minimum recommendation, which isn't that much. That's not, I don't know, math guy, how much is that a day?
I don't know, I wasn't listening to you.
Oh my
What did
gosh.
you say?
150 minutes a week
150 minutes a week.
divided by 7.
I don't know. Calculator! I haven't done this in a while.
It's too early.
So we had a couple questions here, and then you guys are next.
I have a simple question for both of you. So how you guys will be so fit to do your role as parent and coder, and how how that works on your former Peter trophy.
So, I mean, honestly, when we were out there, I was just talking to Brennan about this. I got the most lean that I had been in a real long time, mostly because we had time to run and we were working a lot, so we weren't eating all that much either. So I was basically in a calorie deficit almost every day, and we still made time to work out. Our day was we wake up at 4 a.m., go to set, film until like 6 or 7 p.m. We'd get home. We worked out first.
Yeah, we did a circuit in the house, but we also
and we worked out on set.
Yeah, like during lunch we go to the wardrobe truck and do pull-ups,
Right.
or we do push-ups between camera setups.
Yeah, and
squats.
then after we worked out, we'd eat, and then we'd play video games. That was kind of our plan.
Yeah,
you know?
seriously.
I don't know what Peter did, but before Rangers, actually I don't think he was all that like jacked for Rangers. It wasn't until after Rangers that he started working out, because he was different. He didn't live in a house with like we lived in the house together. He lived in the house with his family. So they would like go out, have dinner, you know, so it was a little bit different. He wasn't like going home and working out and you know, focusing on that. Whereas for us, it was like, we didn't have a family with us, it was just each other, and we're like, how we bonded was
with having
good
gyms.
food.
This is what happens when you give me caffeine.
I forget, you can't regulate the caffeine. Nope. But yeah, it's different for everybody, and I don't know exactly how Peter did it, but he didn't get like super fit until after Rangers. I think he got like jacked after Rangers, and he's really ripped right now, but so it's a little different. He doesn't lift like us. He doesn't go to the gym and like lift weights. He gets his fitness through dancing. He dances for like 2 to 3 hours a
Did
day.
anyone see the picture of him and I on Webtoons when we like did that boxing fight thing?
He was like,
He was ripped. Like, I'm pointing to him, but I meant his brother.
Yeah.
But he's the closest to us, so
same.
yeah, but like you said, if you do an activity consistently and you don't overeat, you will tend to get athletic. You'll have an athletic build.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to lift weights. You need enough protein for muscle synthesis, sure, like to add size, like Yoshi when he was bulking. There has to be protein in there if you want to continue getting bigger and stronger, but you can still get strong and lean just by doing your activity. Like, people are like, what's the best exercise to do? It's like, what's your goal? Whatever your goal, like for handstands. Things that are similar to handstands gets you better at handstands. Go figure, you know? Like, you don't need to go run a marathon to get better at handstands.
There's I think it's being popularized right now in mainstream media or fitness media, something called main gaining.
I don't know what that is.
It's basically you're maintaining your fat percentage while gaining muscle. So instead of doing the whole bulk and then cut, not bulk, it's called, stop it. The bulking and then the cutting, because that's what everybody hears, right? They bulk, they get this big body, and then they cut it, and then they do it again, and then they go back and forth and back and forth. Main gaining is basically you stay at the same body fat percentage and you just keep working out and slowly getting bigger and stronger, which is what we've done.
I've
for
never
years.
bulked in my life.
Yeah.
Like, truly, like, I've never been like, I'm gonna gain 20 pounds and then cut. I just work out, and I'll change the amount of weightlifting I do depending on the role I'm doing. Because like, I've gotten bigger recently, but it's because I was doubling someone on a show who was bigger than me. But overall, I just kind of maintain my fitness and work on skills.
But it wasn't like you were getting fluffy and then...
No, I try to maintain...
Which is what I used to do, and it's not fun. I've done it a couple times, and it's not fun because you get to a point where you're like, just want to give up because you don't look the way that you feel like you should, right? And then for a while, I was like, oh man, I'm not doing anything, I'm not gaining anything. You have to, if your mentality is good enough in that sense that you can keep doing that and then cutting and bulking and cutting, by all means. But for us, that's like it's better for us to maintain. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I know you guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
What's the goal? That's like, honestly, like, I say that a lot because you can't score without goals. You know that saying? Like, if you don't know what the end goal of what you want with fitness, I can give you, like, most people are like, oh, get stronger or whatever, but like, unless I actually know, I can't answer it 100%. So what is the goal? For me? So mine is very specialized because do specialized things. So I do, right now, I'm doing upper body twice a week with weights, 2 days lower body. I do every other day. So this morning we did upper body, tomorrow will be lower for me, then upper, then lower. And then Thursday, Friday, I focus more on hand balancing. I also typically stretch 4 days to 5 days a week. Today, we just literally didn't have time, so we worked out and immediately came here. So I might stretch when I get home after the flight. And then I do cardio 2 to 3 days a week. And then if I do like a tumbling session, I'll then count that as a cardio session. So like I don't add on forever. I'll take away something and put something else in. Like sometimes I go rock climbing because I have an indoor rock climbing gym membership. I may count that as my upper body training, depending on how hard I climb.
And I think the most popular splits are you do push, pull, legs, right? But that's only if you have 6 days a week to work out. If you have time to do 6 days a week of working out.
That's what Jazz is doing. Like he's 6 days a week because he's trying to get big. I don't want to be that big, so I'm not lifting as much.
He just is that. No,
Whatever.
for me, that's what I do because I have a gym in my garage now. So ever since the pandemic, I got a gym in my garage, so I don't have to go anywhere. I can just go downstairs, go work out, and be done. So I can do 6 days a week. And I'm a stay-at-home dad right now, so it's easy. Baby naps, I go down and work out. But that's generally the way a lot of people work it is they do legs, push, which is anything that's pushing, it's upper body, but it's pushing, and then pull, which is everything that's pulling, your motions are pulling, and then it's basically like biceps, back, and all that stuff. So that's the 3 first days, and then you do that again, and then you rest on the 7th day.
So you're basically doing every muscle group twice a week. Twice a week at least is the minimum, I would say. 2 to 3 times a week per muscle group is what you want to aim for.
But I also have a friend who does full body, and then skip, full body, skip, full body.
And that was me for years.
Right.
Literally this year was the only time I started split routine. I would do 3 days a week of full body.
Yeah. So then you only have to do 3 days a week. Like if you're not doing the hand balancing stuff, you would only be working out 3 days a week, and that's sufficient. But you're gonna be in the gym a little longer each time because you're doing all your muscle groups. So honestly, you'd have to tailor it to what your schedule is like and what you can maintain. Because there's a lot of people that go, oh, I'm going to do the 6 days a week, and then they miss a day, and then they go, and I'll figure it out later. And then you forget, and then it's gone. If you miss a day, okay, that's all right. Next week, start again. You can't just skip it. Because that happens to me too. I'm like, I'll miss 2-3 days, and I'm like, I'll do it again in like 2 weeks. But then I don't grow. I stay at the same size. Honestly, whatever it is you're going to decide to do, be consistent in it.
The 3 days a week gives you more wiggle room, like if your schedule's a little all over the place. Because if you miss Tuesday, then you can just do it Thursday or whatever.
But if you have a good consistent schedule, you should be all right.
Yeah.
Just got to wake up a little early.
Okay, so.
Queso is cheese in Spanish.
He's not wrong.
You're welcome.
Oh, you thought this was a fake tip thing?
No, this is just
language.
Language. Well, first of all, my little cousin will be so jealous right now. But,
Hi, little cousin.
so with me, I have a hard time getting enough rest, and I know that rest is just as important as working out. So do you have, first of all, can you talk about the importance of rest, and also do you have any tips for getting like proper rest when you work out?
Yeah. Rest, like, honestly, it's like I don't know, people wear it as a badge of pride. Like, I got 3 hours of sleep and I'm happy about it. Like, that's not a good thing. You know, like, your body needs rest to recover from your workouts and also to lower your overall stress load. And they've done studies where even, because people are like, well, I eat healthy if I have healthy food prepped for me. You know, like all these famous people have like personal chefs. Like, I don't have a personal chef, I think Yoshi does.
It's called me.
But, you know, they've had like healthy food pre-made and unhealthy food pre-made, and they offered both to sleep-deprived people in this, you know, test study, and most of them would still go for the unhealthy food anyway, even though they had access to healthy food, because it makes you feel better mentally and it wakes you up slightly. So it's the sleep deprivation is one of the biggest reasons people eat unhealthy, because they lose willpower to make the proper decisions. So I make a point to do 6 to 8 hours of sleep all the time. And I'm a very busy individual, and I still make a point to get 6 to 8. If that means less Netflix, less video games, less time on Instagram, whatever, I need that sleep because I want my days to be productive because we're not promised tomorrow. I want every day to like, you know, be worth it. So yeah, you need sleep for sure. And you can do naps as well. Are you familiar with caffeine naps? Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing until a couple years ago.
Caffeine naps.
So
I'm about to take one right now.
yeah. So the idea apparently from this one study, I only looked at one study. I can't like talk about the validity of it, but it worked for me. If you're really tired and you don't have a lot of time to sleep, if you consume caffeine and go to sleep within like 10 to 15 minutes before the caffeine kicks in, for whatever reason, I forgot the science behind it, it will rest you more apparently than if you just had caffeine or just napped for 15 minutes. So it's like kind of like a quick start jump. So I found that to be helpful.
But don't take caffeine and then be on your phone for 10 minutes, and then the thing kicks in, and
Yeah,
you're
then
like,
you can't.
I can't sleep. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, I'm in the part of the stage where I have to work out because my family's worried about me. We have a history of heart disease, so as soon as I get back, I'm gonna try water aerobics with purple spinach. Is there any like good like exercise in water aerobics you recommend?
So I haven't trained water aerobics specifically, but like we mentioned, it's really, like for weight loss, for heart disease and stuff, it's really just the calorie deficit, whether you accomplish that through water aerobics or dietary changes, or just going on walks, or whatever activities you enjoy. But strength training is one of the biggest ways to lose weight, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn, even when you're not working out. So cardio may burn more calories in the session, but you up your resting metabolic rate for muscle. So like a pound of fat burns, I want to say it's like 2 calories a day just to exist. Like just being on your body, like that's the rent it pays. A pound of muscle burns, it's like between like 4 and 8 calories a day or something like that. So having muscle costs more to just exist, which is why people lose muscle fast if they stop working out, because your body's like, well, this isn't doing anything for us, let's get rid of it. But if you prove to your body that you need muscle by consistently working out, it will put muscle on your body. So I would say strength training over cardio if people only can do one, because of the boosted effect of burning calories and when you're not working out.
And the beauty is you're working with a PT, like they're gonna understand what you need so much better than we will, because we have such a short time, and they're probably gonna work with what your history is like, what your body can handle. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But again, it is watching what you eat a little bit. I know that it has kind of a bad rap, like with checking your calories and all that stuff. People think, oh, it's a neurotic kind of thing. But what we did, like I, not as much as Brennan has, studied that nutrition side of it. I've counted calories before when I was trying to bulk because I couldn't gain any weight and I couldn't understand why. So then I realized I wasn't getting enough calories in my body every single day. So I counted calories for 6 months, not much. But now, because I've done that for a little bit, I have an understanding a little bit like, oh, that egg is going to give me this much. If and I kind of know throughout the day, oh, I've had about this much, so maybe I can eat a little more. Like last night, we went for dessert, like ice cream and the milkshake at like 11 p.m., 10 p.m. You know, a lot of people are like, you shouldn't eat anything after 8 p.m. Like I had enough calories in my day that I could, or space in my calorie, intake that I could have a little bit more. So it wasn't that big a deal. And if it wasn't, then today I'll do a little bit less, you know.
Nutrient timing does matter, but not as much as people think. It's one of the minor things versus how much you eat in the day in general. So like, if let's say we're eating 2,000 calories a day, and we've only had 1,000, if we eat 1,000 later at night, we're still in that 2,000 calorie range. It's not like our body's gonna we're not gonna get fat all of a sudden because we ate 2,000 just later. And some people intermittent fast, they eat all 2,000 within an hour or two. Intermittent fasting is great, but it's not a magic bullet that people think. It doesn't do this magical thing where like you all of a sudden will lose extra weight quickly. It's just that you typically don't eat as much when you're restricting the time, so you'll lose weight. But it's not like a magical metabolism thing. And same with keto, you lose water weight on keto. You're not losing 2 pounds a day of fat. You're losing 1 to 2 pounds a day of water because carbohydrates store water. When you don't let yourself eat carbs anymore, you lose water. And the moment you start eating carbs again, you gain water back. So that's not my personal
unless you can do keto forever, which is that's so difficult.
Yeah, I'm not an advocate of that person.
Here's how. This is something that so keto
that's
is
30
30 grams of carbs, right?
For 30 grams a day, roughly.
A day. Think of it
one
like this.
apple.
A can of Coke is like 40, 45.
Yeah, you're already on a keto.
You're done.
Yeah.
That's it. A sip is probably going to give you like 10.
Yeah,
Right
a glass
there.
of orange juice, 27 grams of sugar. That's almost all the carbs you get in a day.
Yeah.
Now someone tells me.
That's the thing is too. A lot of people don't realize fruit is a lot of carbs, right? So it's not bad carbs.
No, it's
Don't
good
get
for
me
you.
wrong, it's good for you.
Yeah.
I've been doing,
But just like,
I've been doing fruits and carrots and all that kind of stuff. What is real?
well, I mean, it is still good for you. You know, you just don't
It won't put you in
that.
keto.
Right.
But
Just
you don't have
overdo
to.
it.
I only do keto if I have like a shirtless scene in a movie or something, because then I need to lose the water weight to look as cut as possible. But typically, to look your best, you tend to feel your worst. Like people who are prepping for competitions, they're dehydrated,
Angry.
hungry, they're stressed. Yeah, they don't feel good. They just look good.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
No.
You know, find what is sustainable. Because here's the thing. Brendan can probably be at a lower body fat percentage and be happy than most people. Because genetically, that is the case. That is a thing. But it's okay for you to look a certain way as long as you're feeling good.
Yeah.
Right? And don't try to get yourself to a certain point where you're like hating yourself and everybody around you just to look a certain way.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
Health and wellness is different than telling you need to look like someone else. Like,
Yeah.
I want people to be healthy so they don't have to, like, you know, they can live a good lifespan and a quality of life, not just a long time, but like a health span, you know? That's why I advocate for this. It's not that I feel like everyone needs to have six packs walking around doing handstands. Although the handstands would be pretty cool.
Everybody on their hands.
Everybody.
Right now.
Yeah.
I think we got
Yeah, we got a
like
couple minutes.
more.
Yeah, because I need to go shower soon before I get kicked. Well, let's go. We'll go fast. So
Yeah,
quick
you started
answers,
to-
quick questions.
You know.
Yeah.
I had a hernia thanks to two of these.
Mm.
So there I put in both core exercises immediately, like the next day my hernia is like, hey.
Have you gotten surgery for it yet?
The insurances all say that it would be kind of more, yes, but unnecessary surgery.
Well,
It's not,
How much core exercise are you doing? I'm not gonna lie to you.
no.
I barely do any
Well, it's
because
not-
the rest of your body kind of when you're doing other workouts it ends up like even walking. If you walk up upright, that is a core exercise.
Your core stabilizes you. It's not just your abs.
Yeah.
Well, the thing was, I talked to my doctors and stuff like that, just to be like, hey, can you guys help me out because, you know,
Yeah.
and I know the ladies knows if you have a C-section, any muscle mass you had or mental development you had is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to C-section. But I was just wondering, like, is there another, other than like, starting to do walking again and starting to do stuff like that, it's just,
My understanding with hernias, like, it needs to be surgically fixed. So I would make more of a point with your insurance company because, like, you can't train to fix it, like, without.
yeah, and most of it becomes the whole thing of, if I do a lot of core exercises, if I do, it's like immediately the next day, I'm like, okay, we're not gonna really. be able to
Yeah,
eat that.
I think that's a surgery thing. You can't heal it just by, like, willpower. I wish I could say otherwise. But yeah, as far as I know, that's out of my scope because I obviously don't do surgery. So I would double check with that. But great
And
question.
I think with like core exercise, this is just in the general thing of core exercises. There's a lot of emphasis, especially with like social media, with everybody like, you want to get these abs, do these workouts, right? Like, well, you're not going to get those abs by just doing that workout.
No.
It's again going back to the
Body fat.
dietary, you know, because your core can only take so much. Doing a lot of like abs too, you like pull a lot of the muscle back here, so you better be doing your back as well.
Don't just train your rear muscles with just the front half of you. You want to train the back half because a lot of people, when they're older, they're like this because A, they're sitting a lot, which strengthens your body to sit, which is why people are like this and roll on their phones. You don't want that for your spine. You want to pull your shoulders back. You want to train the back. I'd say like 1.5 to 2 times as much as you train the front because our life just has us like this for good posture and everything.
I don't know, I walk like this.
I know, I see it. Yeah. You.
In the red.
So to kind of piggyback off of that, do you have any tips for maintaining or even gaining muscle with an injury which you have what percentage?
Yeah, I mean, depending on what the injury is, you could always train the parts of your body that aren't injured. You know, like when I've hurt my ankle before, I would do more upper body stuff. Or if I hurt,
My back, so it's kind of
Lower back?
yeah, that's
Same thing with me.
And
So I injured my lower back when I was 21, and I fractured my L4, L5. So that was kind of something that I had to deal with for a while, and I had to rest for 6 months. I lost a lot of the stuff that I had trained for, but you just have to kind of train that, and then you train the muscles around it, right? I do more like lower back core workouts versus I don't really do abs. I do abs when he tells me to. Like today was my first time doing abs in almost 3 years. I don't do it as much. I probably should a little bit more than not because it's not as like strong.
But they get utilized in his other exercises. Like
Right.
when he back squats, your abs and your core stabilizes you. You don't have to specifically go out of your way necessarily to train abs. But like machines, normally I say I don't like machines because they support you too much. But if you have an injury, machines are great for rehabilitation because it will support that injured part. So the machine can kind of spot you, so you're still getting something. Free weights are better for stabilizing in other muscle groups that if you don't want them to be engaged, I would use machines for the
And you
around
could
it.
look at yourself in the mirror. I know this is a weird thing.
Or
Look
back
at yourself
brace.
in the mirror while you're
Mhm.
while you're working out, so you can see if you're engaging your back. Because sometimes when you don't know when you're doing biceps, sometimes some people like
Mhm.
they'll move their back and then you'll feel it there. So I think it's just you've gotta like feel out what is working out. And if it's a soreness, a dull pain, it's okay as long as it's not a sharp pain. Sharp pain, then we're like, all right, because that's what I used to have. I had sharp pain. I couldn't do what is it? Deadlifts for the longest
I
time.
can't deadlift right now for my back.
Yeah, so lower
But I can
back
tell
is a
you.
common like pain. It happens. You have to find a way to work around it, and just don't lift as heavy. You know, you just are gonna have to do more reps than normal.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more.
Just for curiosity, what do you recommend for either walking, running, or bicycle?
Out of those three, what's the goal?
I like the bicycle a little bit more than I like the.
I would say bicycle. Bicycle. If that's the one you enjoy, I would do that one because you're more likely to do it.
I was gonna say they probably all work about the same muscle group.
The way gravity pushes on you is differently.
Yeah. It's probably better for your knees to do bicycle. Yeah. Just be careful out there.
I got pretty bad knees because my weight, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, eventually, because high impact people like avoid it. It's like you don't need to avoid it necessarily overall, but like because if you do it, you strengthen that area. So if you do high impact, don't do it all the time. So I would cycle most of the time, and then also do some jogging just to train the areas, especially like if you start tapering and losing some weight, because that'll be good for your knees later on in life. A lot of people get osteoporosis and things because our bone mineral density from diet, but also just from not training the area decreases as we age. So you want to protect yourself for our later years. All right, a couple more quick fire ones, like a couple sentence answers, and yeah.
So the other thing at the news, we did a research study on working out in the morning and evening, and they said that in the evening it actually is better for you than the morning. The reason is muscle strength, flexibility, power, but pretty much everything is works better in the evening for some reason.
I think it comes down to what can you do consistently. Can you do it in the mornings consistently, or can you do it in the evenings consistently? If you can do it every time after work when you get home and you feel great about it, do it.
Yeah, I'm just.
I would say
I'm just
do that.
throwing it out there that if you have the ability to do morning or evening, evening is the better option.
I think that's also they're saying because like right when you wake up, you're tight because you were sleeping.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't work out literally. I wake up and like walk down to the gym. Like I'll take a few minutes to warm up.
Yeah.
So a study like that, it's so easy to like make the data look like what you want it to say versus what the data actually says. So I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm an Olympian because I train at night versus the morning. No, like I usually train mornings and I think I'm doing okay. Like it just depends on what you do consistently.
Right.
But one of the other facts says
It's true, I could do.
if
Yeah.
you exercise in the evening, take up to 20% longer to reach point of exhaustion.
I mean, I think that's more of a mental thing overall versus like physiologically again the warming up part of it.
Yeah.
But like if you work out at lunchtime, like maybe like what time of night versus what time of day are these? Like there's so many.
Yeah, and what time people wake up, etc.
Yeah.
There's so many different levels to that.
The study was it was 6:30 in the morning for the ones in the morning and 6:30 in the evening.
6:30 is too early. I'm asleep still.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm not doing that. I
9 or
just woke
10.
up.
All right.
But yeah, I think it's whatever you can consistently do that. It's the difference is probably very minuscule. Do what you can be consistent with. I think we got Bulma.
So, I was just wondering, I've seen some like the stunts and videos you guys have done. I was wondering, like, what would you guys recommend for like trying to increase flexibility?
Stretch.
Consistently, honestly, yeah, it's 30 seconds to a minute per stretch, 2 to 3 sets. But I would do it at the end of your workout, not the beginning, unless your workout requires that flexibility to perform the movements.
This is something I learned from Brennan. I used to stretch before my workouts because we've always been taught that. You know, PE, you stretch first. No, you do a dynamic stretch.
Yeah, warm up like arm circles, lunges, things that move you. But if you deep stretch first, you actually lose power output slightly for a few hours. You won't be able to jump as high if you stretch your splits first because your muscles are now loose. Like they can't create as much force like a spring. But like if you need that flexibility because you're a gymnast and you're going to do the splits in your routine, then you better stretch your splits first.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to just improve flexibility, I would do it at the end of the workout.
That's why when you see, anime hasn't lied to you, right? When they're all stretching, they're moving. They're not like staying in one spot.
Yeah.
You see Goku, there's like, he's going to one side and he goes to the other side, right? I'm like, oh, snap, they knew what they were doing.
All right, in the back.
Hey, my question is like, how do you get through, like I injured myself working out and I was just getting a good routine and I kind of lost my self-esteem because I couldn't do what I would normally do. So how do you push through that when you injured yourself and keep going?
Well, I get injured a lot.
Okay.
I'll take that a little bit. So again, it's a mental thing, right? Even though you've fallen off the wagon a little bit, you gotta come back up. Like you gotta start again. Yes, it's a mental thing. You're like, I could just let myself, whatever. But if you want it bad enough, you'll come back to it. And the next time you do, be wary of that injury, whatever it is. Because I've been trying to get this move that he's been teaching me. It's called the front lever. But I have a bad, my neck is not great. So I injure it every once in a while, and then I lose it. But as soon as it's good again, I'll try to keep coming back to it because I want it. Yes, it's taking me longer to get to the point that I had it before, but I'm getting there again. But now I know, if I don't warm it up proper, or if I don't do it in the beginning of my workout, my body's a little too weak, and then I could injure myself again. And that's where the balance between how heavy do I want to go, how hard do I want to go, how much can my body take.
And what's your main goal? Like always going back to what is the goal? Is it
Right.
that skill? Is it to get bigger? Like whatever you want the most, I would train that first. Like I want to up my bench, and I would make bench the first thing you do while you have the most energy.
Yeah. But I think just don't. That's the beauty. Like better to be slow and consistent and not get injured because then you can keep going up, 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 up. Because every time you get injured, it goes boom, back down, and then you got to restart yourself back up again. And again, like what he was saying, if you injure, like say you injured your neck, you can still do squats. Maybe not with heavy weight, but you can still do squats.
Yeah,
If you injure your
squats,
knee, you can still do your
lunges.
biceps.
Yeah, you just scale it down to make it easier. All right, one more question.
What would you do if you want to get stronger in a lot of those areas, but you do so many, like you do sports, like I do football, but we're doing lifts at 4:30 in the morning and not get home like.
Does your coach know anything about periodization, or have they brought that up?
No.
So for sports that have like a set in-season, pre-season, off-season, that kind of thing, periodization, basically when you're in season, competing, that's when you do your maintenance phase. You're not training so hard in the gym that you're losing strength, but you're not trying to bulk up or anything because you need energy to do your sport, to compete. The off-season though is typically like right after you take time to recover, you do active recovery, you try different things that are just fun like mentally to decompress. But then as you start getting close to in season again, I forget the names of all I didn't play traditional sports as much. I did like cross country, but you start pushing hard to increase your strength and your speed before you start competition. But then when competition hits, you do consistent just maintenance. So like a lot of my friends in circus who are performers year round, they don't really have the luxury of like leveling up as much. It's more maintenance because they need to perform 2 days or 2 times a day. So they can't go like, I PR'd on my bench and now I can't do my skill for my job in the evening twice. So while you're in sport doing it, just maintain. When you're off season, that's the time to improve your individual skills or strength, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Back to your rest thing. So I'm up from 4 o'clock in the morning till I don't don't get home till 9 o'clock at night from sports.
You guys take a break for lunch?
Yeah. We
Take a
got
nap.
breaks, but football at my school is a really big thing. It's why we're back-to-back state champions and stuff like that. But it's like rest is not really easy for us.
But I mean, if you, whenever you get a chance for like a snack or whatever, see if you can like at least lay down and let your body rest. That'll help. But also, what are you doing when you get home?
I study for tests,
Yeah.
quizzes till like 12, and then go to sleep as quick as I can.
To midnight?
Yeah, so it's.
I think again, you might be putting a lot of stuff
It's
in
too
your plate.
much. Yeah. I mean, I understand life sometimes doesn't afford us to do the 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
But as best as you can, find those moments to take momentary rest because it does help. Even if it's 10 minutes of just closing your eyes while you're on the bus going to a game or whatever, you need to allow your body to recover. Because you may be winning these championships, but your athletes are going to get injured. I mean, I don't know if they are, but like later on in life, like it's not.
Sleep more on the weekends too.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for the panel, for joining. And thank you, special guests, Yoshi. Yeah. I need to go shower and do photo ops in like 15 minutes. So yeah. All right. If I'm late, that's why.